school janitors with 10 plus years experience. What differences have you noticed in how kids treat their schools today vs the past? My grandfather was a public school night shift janitor for 30 years. He retired 20 years ago. He said that a few times every year, usually right before a holiday or break, he would come in and find the place spotless with a table full of thank you cards and gifts from the kids in the front foyer. The kids and teachers would spend the entire day before the break cleaning the school themselves, so the janitors could have a night off as a thank you. I couldn't say one way or another, but I highly doubt this sort of thing happens anymore. Not a janitor, but I do work in a middle school cafeteria. The kids at my school are little freaking thugs. We have had multiple instances of kids ripping the hand dryers off the wall, flushing, or attempting to flush inappropriate objects and fucking up the sewage system. In one case that baffled pretty much everybody. It was a zip-up hooded jacket. We were all like, but how? We've had a memorial tree, which has a plaque in front of it, vandalized by kids who attended the school after the kid who the tree was planted in honor of, which I disagreed with at the time. He committed suicide by accident. He was a friend's party and odd on shit he'd stolen from the bathroom medicine cabinet. I'm pretty sure at this point, the staff and teachers have given the fuck up. They are fucking thugs, and they are just killing time until they can pass them on to the high school, where it's just as bad if not worse. And yes, we're in a suburbish setting. The entire town is that way, and has been for years. One of the first things I learned when I moved here was don't go down street name at night unless you want to get jumped by gang name. When they opened a hiking/biking trail that, at least in part, goes under the main 6-lane road through town, within just a day or two it had been vandalized. I hike that trail frequently, and I'm pretty sure that, in addition to homeless people camps, I've passed a drug deal going down. I just kind of nodded and kept walking. I've passed people fishing in the lake from a bridge that is part of the trail. It's not the best area to fish, unless you're looking specifically for trash fish, because the water is nasty from people who dump shit over the side of the bridge. My dad went to school in India in the 80s. His school was near some train tracks, and what they would lie a couple 1 rupee coins on the tracks and wait for a train to come by. The train would flatten the coins and they would do this over and over again until he had a massive collection of the coins. We live in the UK now, and if I did that I would be arrested almost instantly for trespassing. If I did that in India now as well, the cops would hassle me, but the cops there are easy to bribe. I've been a janitor/bus driver for a K-12 school since 2008. In my experience, kids are much chiller these days. They used to bust up the bathrooms for fun, tag buildings, and just fuck up stuff for fun. These days most kids are quiet and kind. I'd associated with the trend of nerdy activities being more accepted and popular amongst everyone. The whole thank the bus driver isn't just a meme. After Fortnite got big, almost every kid still thanks me when they get off the bus. I'm a man-child, and I'm still into most of the things kids are into, and they seem to appreciate when I get their jokes and references. Since I'm one of the younger faculty members, I help set up the technology budget and installation. Near the end of the day, I've been picking random kids from the hall to come and try out the Oculus Quests that we just got. Treat them like people, and they'll treat you with respect. If you cringed when they were dabbing a few years ago, you'll be treated like a boomer. Really, the kids are cool. A lot of the teachers are fucking dipshits. Not a janitor, but as a high school boy I can say it isn't great as of now. Just yesterday while I was in a stall, a bunch of boys were wetting wads of paper towel and chucking them on the wall, all while laughing the whole time, and they just left them there. I took them down when I got out, but damn. Also yesterday, a kid accidentally broke his pencil sharpener, and he left the shavings and dust there. He picked up the sharpener at least. Another thing people like to do is throw wooden pencils at the ceiling and try to make them stick. The most ceiling pencils are in the band room. I've seen them in the halls too though. Also one time a downstairs bathroom had a fist-shaped hole in the wall that lead to outside. Don't know what kind of powerhouse did that. The walls are made of tile and cement and brick. I've been a custodian for 11.5 years. I prefer that to janitor. Anyhow, in the past 5 years I've noticed the change of hierarchy at my district has changed the students' attitudes. There is no respect for anything but themselves. Nothing is picked up in the classrooms. Personal belongings strewn across the floors. Crayons broken and smashed into carpets. Erasers are torn into hundreds of shreds and flung everywhere. Tissues used and thrown on the floor. Personal pencil sharpener shavings just dumped on the floor at the desk. Food smashed into carpets, sometimes under teacher desks. Imagine. Pencils snapped and destroyed. The lead drug across tile floors, marking them up so badly that they can't be cleaned. The students even chew the metal end of the eraser and the bathrooms. Fesses in the urinals, on the floor, and smeared across the walls and mirrors. Urine all over the floor and urinals. Students ripping doors off the stalls and dividers off the walls between urinals. Toilet tissue everywhere. Paper towels everywhere, including stuffed in toilets. And this is day after day after day. It would be easier to clean at an animal shelter. At least the animals do not intentionally destroy their surroundings. Retiring soon, thank heavens. Retired 2 years ago with 30 years being a custodian in a public school in Ohio. Behavior is only getting worse, and what was so hard for me was how unimportant the administration treated anything the kids did with no consequences for their actions. I refuse to vote for any school levy to this day because vandalism, destruction, disrespect etc and the waste of money I witnessed. There is so much crap that goes on the public is unaware of. Janitor / custodian / housekeeper / with Ave Alpha State University over the last 15 years. In my experience, not much has changed with students in that time. Faculty and staff are a different matter entirely. Students seem altogether less social, more aloof, less inclined to make eye contact with a stranger, but the messes they make are pretty much the same. I feel like there's less graffiti overall, fewer maliciously broken things, but more clogged toilets. Like way more. Maybe fiber consumption has gone up, maybe the building's plumbing is just getting old. Dudes still piss all over the urinals except into them. Women still don't understand that the little receptacle next to their toilet is for exactly what you're imagining it's for. There's also been a noticeable uptick in the amount of food consumed in restrooms. And not just small snacks, dinners, burritos, cup noodles, all while presumably on the can. So they go and microwave their dinner, then carry it to and eat it on the crapper. Multitasking is gross. Perhaps more interestingly, my crew and I have been experimenting with taking trash and recycle cans out of classrooms entirely. My assumption was that there would be a lot more garbage just left on desks and tables, dropped on the floor, pulled up and stuffed into some nook and or cranny, or just blowing around like brightly colored tumbleweeds. I was breathtakingly wrong. It turns out that the vast majority of students will actually carry their trash out to the hallway and pitch it in the nearest receptacle. So much for feeding my confirmation bias. Though I still have to clean up the occasional soda fight, which is exactly what it sounds like. Worked as a janitor in public housing for a time. The worst was actually recycling bins. In my time no one treated them like actual recycling bins, despite very clear signs and instruction from management. People would throw everything in them. Fruit, diapers, liquids, everything. And once a recycling bin is contaminated the whole thing becomes trash and would require us to thoroughly clean it. Essentially they were useless and time consuming due to how misused they were. I've been a custodian for 6 years. When I started out the rooms were okay, the teachers were nice, the kids didn't make too big a mess, and when it was really bad the teachers made the kids attempt to clean their own mess. Now, I clean puddles of piss of the floor in the bathrooms every day. They take toilet paper and soak it in piss and throw it on the ceiling. Half-eaten food is left on the floor. Teachers don't care or can't do anything to stop the kids. A new thing the kids like to do is snap pencils in half and throw them around, or take a sharpener and shave their pencils as much as they can, and leave the shavings on the floor. I can kind of one-half answer this. In high school I worked at a hotel/resort for a couple years. We didn't have a dedicated cleaning crew. We had the front desk staff, engineering, and room service. That's it. So me, being a part of the front desk, was our de facto janitor for the main lobby building. Hotels are 24 hours, so it's not like they close. At around 10 PM, when things slowed down, I would mop the atrium, while chatting with my front desk colleagues. I'd wipe down surfaces, take out trash in the smoking lounge, etc. The big takeaway I had was, people treat the environment the same way it was when they arrived. Meaning if we had a bad group trash the lounge, then everyone who came in after them would also trash the lounge. Add to the mess as it were. However, if the lounge was spotless when they arrived, they'd be more aware to pick up their trash. So I helped the cause by cleaning up a little every time I walked by, save me work at the end of the night. I used to be a school janitor, just for a few months though, but every day was fucking worse. Like guys, once in the toilet it was a can and then someone poo over it, and they expect me to clean that shit. No F way at that is just something for starters, it was a boys only school BTW. My buddy retired a few years ago, and he said, because of the internet, there has been less general destruction of property as things just aren't cool anymore. It's like graffiti back in my day, 1980s, graffiti was all the rage, and not just tags, but actual art on buildings and subways and stuff, and kids used to get off on damage, and not being caught. You were at all cool, and my friend said, that kids today think hacking the DNC, or having some new computer gadget is much cooler than destruction of property, because that stays with you forever. They are more connected to the internet, even as kids. You still have the sociopaths and psychopaths, so there will always be damage. But I remember in my dad's day, they dropped M80s in toilets. Nobody does that dumb shit anymore.